Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Wellness Foreplay. We are Dr. Dondi and Marcy Nettles.
Hi, guys.
We are your hosts. In every episode, we ask 4 questions revolving some topic of wellness. And the whole purpose is to help you be better health advocates for your own health and literally take back responsibility and accountability for your health so you can literally just plot the course of your health the way you want it rather than relying on someone else to help.
Yeah, so just a little bit about us. I'm a former police detective and you are.
I'm a former family wellness chiropractor.
And so we've come together and now we're doing the investigations that we know we'll get the knowledge together that will really help you be as well as you want to be. So
yes,
we know this knowledge is the foreplay to your wellness, okay?
Yes.
Hence the Wellness Foreplay episodes. So last episode, and actually do your disclaimer first before we get into this part.
This information is not intended to prevent, treat, cure, or mitigate any disease. It is exclusively meant to empower you, the listener or the viewer, to gather information, to take on the information, take on the personal responsibility to be your own health advocate and listen to what we're saying. You can take the good, discard what doesn't matter to you, but we're not here to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure diseases. We are here to educate you so that you can be the best healthcare consumer and best healthcare advocate you can be for yourself.
Yeah. So on last episode, episode 12, we were talking all about proactive wellness versus reactive recovery, right? And as we were talking, we actually discussed 7 specific areas that we really need to be working and being proactive in order to have our optimal wellness. Those 7 areas were in your health, finances, family and relationships, spirituality, career, mental health, and contribution. And after we got done, we were talking and we realized that, there's actually 2 of those that are very specific that are affecting all of the others, first of all. And those same 2 are being highly stressed right now because of the pandemic, because of illness that's going on, because of extra stressors. So we decided that we wanted to take those 2 and have specific days that we focus just on each one of them individually. So today for episode 13,
lucky number 13.
Woohoo, it was also my basketball number in high school and all those. Yeah. So I love the number 13 is my number, but this episode 13 is proactive wellness. So we're calling it part 2 because it's a secondary to that first one. And we're focusing on mental health. Oh my gosh, guys. The reason why we felt like this was so important for us to address and to give you some more things that can help you be proactive is that there are more people than ever that are struggling with mental health issues, not necessarily something that is a disease or anything like that, but actually struggling from extra pressure and stresses that are leading to mental exhaustion, I would actually say.
Mental fatigue.
Yeah, for sure. And so let's talk about the 4 questions that we're going to be answering today.
Let's do it.
The first question is, what are some questions to ask yourself when evaluating your mental health? The second question is, do you know what the 6 basic human needs are, and are they being met? Third question, what are some things you can do to be proactive in guarding your mental health? And the 4th question, are you focusing on the problem or the solution? All right, we want to be proactive here, right?
Yes.
So let's get into these questions. And by the way, some of this, we gather this information from so many different places. And today we're actually going to be gathering some of the information from the great Tony Robbins.
Yes, go Tony.
Yeah. So you'll be able to go out and search some of this stuff for yourself and get some amazing information on top of it. So again, this is just the starting place for you. We do not want you to feel overwhelmed. This is just tidbits. So pick and choose your pieces that you're going to go and take action on in your mental health. Okay. And by the way, just because there's areas you need to work on in your mental health, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Okay. It doesn't at all. Every single one of us has areas that we really should put more focus that will help us be more positive and strong in our mental faculties. So,
and to your point, you talk about the whole purpose of this is to help you establish some good tools to utilize so that if you are feeling overwhelmed, to give you the positivity that there's a way out and to help you prevent from being overwhelmed. If you recognize some of the things we're going to talk about in your own behavior, in your own life, in the way you handle things personally, the whole intention is to help you breathe easier, have less stress, recognize what causes them, what some cases triggers or whatever, but to help you not be overwhelmed so that you have a better command of your mental health overall.
So before we get into these questions, I want to ask you a specific question and have you actually think about it right this second. Right at this moment, okay, at this halfway point of March 2021, because now we are a full year into the pandemic, are you feeling like you are more mentally healthy now than you were a year ago? Or are you feeling like you are less mentally healthy than you were? And depending on how that makes you feel, I would really encourage you to take a moment and just push share. If you're with us live right now on Facebook, we're on here on 3 different platforms. Or if you're on here with a replay, please just share it out then as well. And if you're listening to it on the podcast, please make sure that you're sharing this podcast, because these are just the basic informations that so many people are just literally dying to find. So we would really love for you to help us in getting this information out to more people. So let's go ahead and go into question number 1. Question number 1, what are some questions to ask yourself when evaluating your mental health? And we found 5 that you might find very helpful for you. Okay. So I'll read the first question and then we can talk about it. Okay?
And just to put it in perspective, these 5 questions will help you establish kind of your pulse of where you are, a starting point just from an overall reference framework of your overall mental health. These 5 questions will help you at least establish where it is so you can kind of take an inventory. Where am I in this situation and be able to go from there?
Perfect. So the first one is how am I feeling today? And that's mentally and physically. Right? Are you feeling like you have some aches and pains? Are you feeling like your stomach hurts? Do you have headaches? Take a mental note of that. And even I would actually say journal it.
Journal it, yeah.
Because you'll want to track your days. So journal each morning when you wake up. And this is something, these 5 questions you should do when you first wake up in the morning. So journal it so that you can track your progress. So first thing in the morning, how am I feeling today?
Yeah.
Okay. And then second, what's taking, and by the way, before I move on to the second question there, is along the mental part, ask yourself, am I excited to get up today? Or, right? Because that can be, part of the how am I feeling today is your emotions. 2, what's taking up most of my headspace? Is it positive or is it negative? That's a really big
A lot of times what occupies our mind, I've heard it said, what you think about, you bring about. And if any of you have ever watched the movie The Secret, they talk about in that thoughts become things. So a lot of times what you're thinking about, you will actually create the manifestation of that thing you're thinking about, more of it in your life. And if you tend to be thinking about negative things, it's no surprise that there's more negative things happening because that's where your mind tends to go to. So again, no judgment, just establish for yourself, what are the things or thing that is taking up the majority of my mental bandwidth? Identify that, write it down and make it a pattern, journal it to see what is it, where am I tending to go as a default for myself? Is it more thinking positive or is it more thinking negative? It's a great way to start evaluating this.
Yeah. So the third question or thing to consider first thing in the morning about your self-evaluation is, when did I last eat a whole meal? And you're like, what in the heck does eating a whole meal have to do with my mental health? It has everything to do with it. Everything. First of all, nutrition goes into your health, all, mind, body, soul, all of it, right? But it's also, it can be an indicator that if you have a low appetite, that you might be struggling with depression, with anxiety, with something like that.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing is, the other component of it is, yes, nutrition is extremely important, but some people can eat very nutritious snacks. But the thing is, eating a whole meal, a lot of times that can be 2 things. Yes, a nutritious meal, but the other is taking the time out to prepare the meal, to sit down and eat the whole meal, is taking time out. Sometimes I know I can get victimized by this. I can get extremely focused, tunnel vision, and look up and go, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten anything in 8 hours.
Yeah.
And it's not good for your body. It's not good for your mind. You're not feeling the things you're burning through, all of those caloric things that you're keeping in your body. But it's also not a good habit to go without a break. And a great time to take a break is at mealtime. So there's a multi-layer there. The nutrition itself, which your body needs, but taking a time, taking a break, taking a time out, and going down and sitting down and preparing a meal, especially if you're in a family.
You know,
so
that's a really good point. I never considered mealtime as rest time, and yet,
or just a break from the status, a break from your daily routine. Meals make great breaks.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so the fourth thing in your evaluation is going to be, am I generally tired or have low energy when I wake up throughout the day? Are you feeling fatigue, overwhelm, or even just plain worn out? It's a good question to ask. And then the fifth thing that you want to consider in this evaluation is, what am I willing to engage in today that is going to bring me joy?
Oh, yeah.
That's so important. You know, it's being willing to prioritize yourself, and what are you willing to say no to, and what kind of boundaries are you willing to set throughout the day?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have a hard time with boundaries. I know I do. I am a born pleaser, guys. I am born to say yes. And yet, guess what that does to my mind when I don't set the healthy boundaries? What that does to my whole body, what that does to my whole being, because it's difficult for me to say no at times. And so making sure that you are willing, you know, it's like, am I willing to do that?
It's interesting you say that, because I find myself being very similar, wanting to do anything that's asked of me, especially if somebody else is going to benefit from it, saying yes, and then realizing after the fact, oh my gosh, I double booked myself, or that doesn't leave me very much time to do these other things that I had already committed to. And I remember having it placed to me in it, because I don't like to say no, because no is the opposite of yes. My heart says yes, but when my mouth says no, I have a hard time with that. And I went to a seminar one time and he says, don't say no, just say, I can't say yes to that. It's very different. It's a very different posture to say, I can't say yes to that, versus no. Because no, the person may take the no as, what did I say it wrong? Is it me? But if you say, no, I just can't say yes to that. I love that approach. It really, really helped.
You know, I need to practice that. I think that could help me out in.
We should watch our own episodes.
Several. I know, right? We're going to have to go back here and watch this again and learn from it. But that's part of the thing, guys, is that we are not experts in all the stuff that we're bringing to you. This is part of our growth, you know, our continual learning in helping us be the most well people that we can be too. We just decided that we wanted to share it with you, because foreplay is better together, right?
It is,
so
every time.
Us sharing with you and then you sharing with other people, that's how we can help this world be a more well world all the way around.
This is important.
Yeah. So, okay. So now let's talk about question number 2. Question number 2 is, do you know what the 6 basic human needs are, and are they being met? This is one of the things that we're learning from Tony Robbins. And by the way, guys, we're going to briefly go through these things because there's 6 of them, and we could be here all day long.
Literally.
And we do plan on doing a full episode on these 6 things, the 6 basic human needs. Okay. So just quickly to run through them. If I say the need, can you say kind of what they are?
If you've got all the notes right there. You can use
the notes right here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the first one would be certainty.
Well, let's get a little framework. So as we go through these 6, you're probably going to align with or identify with 1 or 2 as your primary motivators. And as we go through these 6, there's no hierarchy of importance. They're not in order of importance. All of us are different. All of us have different needs. All of us go about getting those needs met or identifying how we meet those needs. But it's something, so these are not in numerical order of importance. They're not in any order. But everyone listening to these 6 is probably going to find 2 that are your primary drivers. So the ones that are your needs that you need met the most. Identify what those are, and we'll talk about, we'll introduce the the actual need, and we'll give a little bit of blurb about it just to apply a little bit more clarity to it.
And like we said, if you want to learn more about this, you can always go out and search Tony Robbins and six basic human needs. Yeah, because he goes into it in depth and beautifully. It's what he does.
And we'll do an episode on it, like Marcy said, in the future, just devoted to this.
Yeah. Okay. So the first one that we have listed down here is certainty.
Certainty. Yeah. Certainty is you play it safe. It's secure. You don't like change. You want to make sure that it's basically it's controlling your environment of certainty. You want to be certain because certainty is safe. Certainty is familiar. Certainty is comfortable. Certainty is not changing. And those are the kinds of things how you identify. If you like things the same all the time, you like patterns, you like routines, you don't like change, then maybe certainty is one of your top needs.
And this is actually a top need of a lot of people. And I actually will tell you that I was born into a certainty mindset, right? And so it's been a battle for me throughout my whole life. And so it's a choice that I have to make to not dwell in certainty, to choose other things. So the second one is uncertainty.
Uncertainty. People like variety. Sometimes people like chaos. They like the unpredictability. They like new things. They constantly like change. They thrive on change.
They like jumping out of airplanes. They like taking risks.
Things identified. Thrill seekers.
Yes.
They like the uncertainty, the unpredictability to it, the fear factor involved.
And I think one of the most important things about that is that they are willing to do new things.
Sure.
They're willing to try new things, not just being stuck in the same thing all of the time. Now, the third one is significance.
I relate strongly to that one.
Ooh, me too.
It's the wanting to feel important, to be seen, to make an impact, to influence a certain population of people. You're doing it for altruistic reasons. A lot of times, though, it can be overwhelming and it can be self-serving and it can become problematic. So in all of these needs, there's a healthy way of looking at it, and then there can be an unhealthy way of looking at it, which is exactly why we want to bring it up.
Yeah. And then connection and love is the next of the six.
Connection of love, contributing to something, being loved, whether it's a thing that you love or a relationship or loving another human being or loving. Some people have pets. They prefer pets over spouses. And that's awesome because pets have unconditional love. Spouses don't always. I can tell you, I'm not always unconditionally loving, but it's the need to have love, experience love, receive love is something, the connection part of it.
I want to clarify something on unconditional love, though. Unconditional love doesn't mean that you always approve of what someone does. It just means that you love them anyway. Right. So I would say that I love you unconditionally, but I don't always like the things that you do or the things that you say.
When I forget to unload the dishwasher.
Oh, whatever, you do that.
Or I leave the whites in the dryer or the washer and I forget to put them in the dryer.
They get stinky. But that's not one of those things I'm thinking about. So, all right.
There's more.
Along with the connection and love aspect, a lot of the times when you're seeking these things, you are making sacrifices. You have to sacrifice to have this need filled a lot of the time. He's very sacrificial, just FYI.
And that's one part that it could become problematic is when you overwhelming or your need isn't being met. Your need to be involved in love, but you're not getting it, you don't feel like you're getting it back, or the need to give to others and contribute to others at your own peril, right? Your own self-sacrifice. That's kind of the fine line to draw upon, or the fine line to walk if you're somebody who likes that contribution part.
Yeah, I can definitely see this being an episode that you guys need to come back and watch again and take notes on. Because these things that we're talking about, these 6 things, you really need to look at it and say, okay, how important is this to me? How am I going about getting my need filled? And are the people in my life filling that need for me? Right. And one of the things too is you've got to have proper expectations, that you cannot put your full happiness on the shoulders of someone else. Okay. You have to know that you are the one that's responsible for your happiness. And the first place you should go is always to God. That's our belief. And then be seeking, people that you can partner with in getting these needs filled effectively. Okay. So taking notes on this is going to be vitally important when you come back and watch this again. So the 5th one now, and Tony breaks these up too. The first 4 are the basic needs.
The basic needs.
And then the second 2 How does he classify that? Do you remember? Or we'll have to go over that when we go in depth.
Well, in essence, the first four: the certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, and what was the
significance.
Those are the basic framework, fundamental needs that everyone has. The other two, not everyone has, and that is, and we'll get into them, is the growth and contribution. Is that it is now, it's gone beyond the basic needs into the needs that are mostly wrapped around spirituality or contribution or up-leveling or altruism. The first four are really kind of focused on self and in the natural sense, and the other two get into the spiritual sense and more of an altruistic perspective.
So the fifth one being growth. This is a person that is continually looking to expand themselves, continually looking for ways to move forward. They don't want to stay where they're at. And so they're going to grow so that they can go where they want to be, right? So growth is how they know that they can get there and they can move forward quickly. And then the sixth one.
Like Les Brown says, every day in every way, I get better and better. Hey!
Yeah, almost in that voice, but not. Contribution is number 6. Okay. I love contribution, by the way, because contribution is the fastest way for you to get out of a funky mindset than anything else, to where you're serving and helping others. And by the way,
didn't we just do an episode on that?
I'm sure we've mentioned this many times, the acts of random kindness, right? But it goes beyond that, because it needs to start in your house. You need to begin with the contributions happening and serving in your own home.
Your own peeps.
This guy's so good at this, and I'm working on it. So he is so good at that. So
you are too.
Contribution is the 6th one. So like we said, we will be doing a full episode specifically on those 6. So stand by for that. Won't be the next episode, but it'll be coming up shortly. Now, question number 3. What are some things you can do to be proactive in guarding your mental health? So these are going to be your action points, guys. Okay. So what are some of the things you can do?
Take some notes. Get ready to take some notes.
So first of all, you have to be aware that everything that you see, that you hear, that you feel, that you think, that you say, and you do all contribute to whether or not you are in a healthy mindset. Okay. And you have to be willing to take action. You have to be willing to protect your mental well-being by saying no to things. So when we're talking about what we see, guys, shut off the TV. And I would even say here on social media, you need to be really careful about the things that you're looking at and you're taking in. Okay. Whether it's in meme form, it's in video form or audio. You need to be careful about what you're allowing.
Set boundaries.
Yeah, definitely. And then the things that you hear, meaning, what music are you listening to? What comedy? Anything that goes into your brain starts to formulate your thought processes, and your thought process lead into the actions that you take. So really be careful about those things. And then what you think eventually comes into what you say and the words that you say.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because I remember growing up hearing sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And the interesting thing about it is visible scars. Let's say from sticks and stones, you can see scars, you can see stitches, you can see where scabs used to be. But the wound is done healing. But I think it's actually the opposite. Words can hurt more than sticks and stones, because those scars on the inside that nobody sees how you deal with it in your private time. Words matter. I remember one incident when I was in high school, and my algebra instructor told me I would never amount to anything, because I acted out in class, and he had every right to be angry at me, and he had every right to discipline me. But to say you'll never amount to anything in life really, really affected me. And I mean, I'll tell you now, this happened when I was probably 16 years old. I'm now almost 56, something I've carried with me for almost 40 years. And it was only said to me one time in the heat of, he was angry and deserved to be. I acted up and I deserved some kind of discipline. But shaming was not part of it. And that's the part of it that we take to heart sometimes, the words. And a lot of times the words come from what we're thinking or what immediately happened right before. It sounded like something happens at work and you go home and kick the dog. Nothing, the dog didn't do anything. It's what you brought home with you,
Yeah.
what you let into your own filters.
Yeah. So we really need to be aware and filter out the things that are negative, that are not serving to your mental health. And then the next point that we had here was to make sure that you're setting up your day with a healthy night's sleep, right?
Sleep is so important.
Yeah, it's so important. So again, we're not going to go deep into how to get the best sleep, right? Because that would be taking a long time too. That's a whole episode to come as well. But you do need to make sure that you're aware of certain things, and you can do some simple things to set you up for a really great night's sleep. The first one is be aware of the stimulus that you have going on around you, whether it's internally or externally. So that's the thoughts that you're thinking, or the thoughts that you're trying to shut down before you go to sleep. Anybody ever experienced that, right? You've just got a mind that runs and runs and runs and runs. Or how about, what did you watch just before you tried to go to sleep? What were you listening to right before you tried to go to sleep? Or how about your devices? The blue lights from your cell phones, from your computers, all of that kind of stuff are detrimental to a good night's sleep.
Absolutely.
So you've really got to be aware of
compound
that.
Cumulative effect.
Yeah. So will you share with them about the natural light and the importance of going into a cycle with your normal rhythm of the natural light compared to white light?
So it's called circadian rhythm, and it all depends on the natural light process of the sun and the moon. And it helps your sleep-wake cycles. It actually gets into your sleep-wake cycles. And how you know, as let's just say we're in civilization, we have things like artificial light, whether it's incandescent light, fluorescent light, LED light. We have artificial light that mimics the light of the sun and can play tricks on our brain. So how you know you're influenced by that is you look outside. If it's dark outside and it's light inside, you're already acting unnaturally, because no other animal has the ability to regulate their own light or create their own light. They go by the sleep-wake cycles of the sun and the moon. And you felt that if you ever go camping and the sun goes down, especially if you have a campfire, the sun goes down, you start to yawn pretty shortly thereafter because your body's telling you to go to sleep. But we have the ability to walk over, flip on a light, and change all of that. It gets us out of that circadian rhythm. But we can use natural light artificially. We can, and by limiting white light, limiting blue light. Red light is a great example. We do in our house after a certain time, we have only candlelight or red lights that are not toxic to your brain, or they don't stimulate your brain to keep thinking. It's a way to slowly start to wind down. And it's a very important part of your circadian rhythm, which leads right into your ability to sleep restfully. And it's not necessarily how many hours your eyes are closed. It's when your eyes open, are you still tired? And do you want to stay in bed? Hence, hit the snooze alarm, hit the snooze, hit the snooze, hit the snooze, where your alarm clock's saying get up, but your body's saying no. That's how you know there may be a potential problem. You're not honoring your sleep cycle, and you're not honoring your body's need for a very important night's sleep. Yeah.
So a few other things that you can also do to set yourself up for a great night's sleep is, if you've ever heard of soft or white noise.
White noise,
right?
yes.
So I love the sound of rain, or the sound of the lapping waves. I love that sound.
Birds
it
chirping.
it just lulls me to sleep. Insects, even like crickets, soft,
They
doing
have
their
apps for that.
Yeah.
Free apps where you can just play nighttime, like crickets. Like we don't have crickets in Arizona.
No.
But we can put a phone, we do this, we put an app on our phone and play nighttime cricket sounds and just play that. It'll actually help you go to sleep because it's stimulating what's happening outside, and your body will get into that. Or crashing waves, or rushing water of a river, or raindrops, thunder. It's unbelievable. Jungle noises, whatever your flavor is, or just sometimes it's just white noise.
Yeah.
It helps you get into that circadian rhythm of sleep.
And you don't even have to have it play all night long, guys. If you're concerned about having something, you can set a timer. So it just helps you to go into that sleep. Really good. And then sleeping in a cool space is a really good idea. If you need to have a fan around, like ceiling fan is always going.
We have bedside fans too.
Yeah, for during the summertime. But the ceiling fan, just having the air moving around me, it's just so much more refreshing to me, and I'm able to stay asleep longer. I don't get hot. I don't get the sweats, all that kind of stuff that can be uncomfortable and wake you up throughout the night. Also watching how much water you drink at night.
Yeah.
So you're not being woke up so many times. And how about your bedding and your pillows? Guys, if you've got a crappy pillow, you're not going to sleep very well. And if your bedding's not comfortable,
your mattress
your mattress isn't comfortable. It's going to be a hard way for you to be able to stay asleep all night long. And this is where we do like a shameless plug, right? For Mike Lindell, the My Body guy, is it My Pillow? MyPillow.com. Yeah, MyPillow.com. It's like, you've got the pillows. They've got all kinds of things that are just amazing. And
mattress toppers,
we definitely
sheets. It's just, so the important
love
part
the
about
sheets
it
too.
is that if you're not comfortable while you're in a horizontal position attempting to sleep, you're probably not going to sleep restfully. And the whole important part, again, it's not how long your eyes are closed. It's how you feel when they open. And if you're not rested, it means there's a lot of things we can, like weighted blankets. I love weighted blankets. Weighted blankets, just there's something about pressure on you from thick comforters where you have blankets and multiple comforters. Or a weighted blanket. It is just gives, it's kind of like what a baby feels when you wrap a newborn baby in swaddling cloths. It's just that, or that we put the little baby in the burrito, wrap them tight. It makes them just want to sleep because it's that, and that pressure. As adults, we can do that with weighted blankets. But to Marcy's point, a cool environment. But again, the important part about sleeping is your posture and whether or not that posture is comfortable. So as a former chiropractor, having a cervical pillow so that your neck is in proper alignment, you're not compromising your posture. Or if you're a side sleeper, having a pillow between your knees so there's no stress on your hips and your lower back. So body pillows are great things. There are cervical sleeping pillow or sleeping pillows if you don't like a body pillow. There's ones that are meant specifically to go between your knees to keep the space between your knees as if you were mimicking standing posture. And then the thickness of a pillow if you're a side sleeper. If it's too thin, your head is leaning toward the mattress, causing neck stress. If it's too thick, it's leaning the other direction, causing neck stress. So those are the kinds of things that deliberately putting some time into your bedding and your sleeping posture are going to have everything to do with whether or not when those eyes open, you're ready to jump out of bed, or you're just like, nope, snooze, I need another 9 minutes because 9 minutes matters.
Yeah. And so guys, some of this stuff you will have to make a slight investment in, right? But the power of your sleep in your mental health is just so important. And then how about subconscious listening? You do a lot of this at night. You have your earphones in all of the time. It's always got to be positive, guys. You can't just be listening to any book. It's got to be a positive book. It's got to be something that is telling your mind good messages.
And not too analytical or data driven, because then you're gonna lay there and think.
Yeah. And so some people can listen to it at night. I can't. So I'm one of those other people. I'm one of the other people that can't listen to stuff, because if I am listening to something, my mind doesn't let me go to sleep. And so you have to know what is good for you, because we're all individual. We're all different, right? And so you've really got to figure out what the best things are for you, but it's important for you to be aware and then make the choices that are good.
Yeah.
And then something else too is being active during the day so you're tired at night.
Yeah, activity.
So getting your body moving, right?
Get your 10,000 steps every day for you Fitbit and Apple Watch people.
So guys, I got to tell you, one of the things that I've learned over this pandemic that has really become a thing is that sitting is like the new cancer.
It is.
It's leading to so many illnesses and diseases just because we're stationary and sitting in a position that is not allowing natural blood flow to happen through vital parts of our body. And so making sure that you're getting up and moving is not only going to be good for your health all day long, but it's also going to help you sleep better at night.
Good point.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about this point too, because you have to understand that you're going to have bad days with your good days. As you're doing these evaluations, and we're talking about mental health, and there's so many people struggling with it right now. You're going to have some bad days. It's okay.
It's a given.
It's okay. That's why you want to be tracking these questions that we're talking about. You want to do that evaluation in the morning and keeping that journal, because the thing is you're going to have some bad days. You just want to do everything that you can to have more good days than you are having bad days. Now, the thing is that as you're journaling, and we want you to hear this from our hearts, okay? We want you to know that just because you're struggling with something with your mental health does not mean that there's anything wrong with you.
Right.
Okay, nothing at all. But as you're doing your tracking and your journaling, if you come to find out that you see that you're either kind of trending on more bad days than good, this just might be a really good signal to you that it's time for you to reach out and ask for help.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
Okay.
that's actually
There's
a very wise thing to do.
yeah, there's amazing people out there that this is their passion in helping people. And so just know that if you see that you're tracking with more bad days than you're having good days, it's time to start asking, okay, who can I talk to? Who can I reach out to? There's a lot of great people out there. There's a lot of great programs out there. Some of them will cost you some money to get some help. And then there's other programs out there that don't.
Right.
So just know that there are different options. Just be willing to ask. Okay. It's okay. And then the bottom one, the schedule you time, the self-care. Before we move into
and I
number
want to
4.
part of that self-care part is if you struggle with getting to, or you lie there and you're trying to go to sleep, you're even yawning, you want to go to sleep, your body's telling you to go to sleep, you just can't. There are other things. There are supplement ways you can do that. Like chamomile tea is one of my favorites. I love sleepy time tea, chamomile tea. It's an herb that allows your body to start to relax. You can also, I like to add valerian root drops into my chamomile tea. Sometimes ashwagandha is a really good herb to help your body rest too. Just figure out what your strategy is. Sometimes essential oils, putting on in a diffuser, essential oils. We like to do that as well. It just gets your brain. Lavender is very, very calming for me. And it's just, sometimes it's a scent, sometimes it's a tea, sometimes it's something. 5-HTP is another precursor to allowing your brain to get into a sleep cycle. So those are some of the things you can do nutritionally as well.
Oh, there's so many different things that you can do nutritionally.
There is. Just find your sweet spot and try some things until you find what works for you. Calms Forte is a homeopathic sleep aid that we use. There's also there's so many. There's so many. You just find out what works for you.
Yeah, most definitely. All right. So let's move on to question number 4.
All right.
Question number 4 is, are you focusing on the problem or the solution?
Yeah.
Guys, it is a 100% guarantee that the thing that you focus on will duplicate. Okay. So if you're thinking about the negative, you're not going to get anything but negative. And it's going to make you sick. It's going to make your mind hurt. You're going to have anxiety. You're going to have depression. And nothing good is going to come out of being a negative Nelly. Yeah. Okay.
I want to give a frame of reference on that.
Please.
Sometimes we literally don't know, or we underestimate how often we think negative or how often we think positive. And I remember being given an assignment about this. And if you've ever gone to the produce section of your grocery store and you buy broccoli, stalks of broccoli, they typically come with a big blue rubber band around the stalks. Buy a bunch of those and save the blue rubber bands and put one around your wrist. And here's a challenge to you. And that every time you know you're having a negative thought, grab that rubber band, pull it back, and let it go. It's called a pattern interrupt. So what you're doing is you're punishing yourself for that negative thought. Now, in the beginning, I'll tell you, it sucks because it hurts like hell. And don't just do it a little bit. Pull it back so that you're almost wincing, knowing you're going to let it go, and you're expecting it to be really painful because it needs to be. That's the whole that's the whole reprogramming point here. And eventually you're going to realize, like, holy crap, I just snapped myself 2 seconds ago and I'm having another pause or another negative thought. Do it again. Don't cheat. Every time you have a negative thought, or every time you acknowledge you have a negative thought, pull that rubber band back, let it snap the crap out of you, because it brings you back. Pain is an indicator to bring you right back to present. Ouch. And then you'll start to realize because they say we are 2 main motivators. We do things to avoid pain or gain pleasure. Avoiding pain is a very strong pattern. And if you constantly show yourself, you're like, oh my gosh, I never thought I'm an optimistic person. I always have been an optimistic person. I remember thinking to myself, holy crap, for an optimistic person, I'm sure thinking about a lot of negative things, and it's making my wrist hurt. I had to switch over to the other hand because I started getting bruises. I was snapping myself so much. And then I put it on the other wrist and kept doing it. And I got a blister. Then I was like, oh my gosh, I've really got to control my negativity. And then eventually you will start to understand your pattern, and then you'll start to, and do it until you don't need to do it anymore. you can start breaking your own behavior, because you can start as soon as the negative thoughts starts to come up, you instantly take it and go in the other direction, because you can't think a negative thought and a positive thought at the same time. That's the whole purpose. Penalize yourself for having negative thoughts so that you train yourself to have only optimistic thoughts.
It's a great tool.
Because you're going to have good days and bad days. Like Marcy said, the whole goal is to minimize the bad days and maximize the good days. And that pattern interrupt with a blue broccoli rubber band on your wrist will pay you. You will thank me if you do it.
Oh my gosh. And
not in the beginning though.
Curse him
curse
too.
me while it's happening. Once you learn it, you will thank me.
So that tool can really be great in helping you remember that you've made a decision that you're going to be positive, right? You're going to be positive, you're going to be positive. And then you also want to set small, smart goals. So many times when we're setting our goals, we go for the big, hairy, audacious ones, right? And we forget to set the small, smart goals to help you feel less overwhelmed on the journey towards your big, hairy, audacious goal, right? And so SMART goals, you might not even understand exactly what those are.
SMART, it's an acronym.
Yeah, so acronym, what does it stand for?
Specific, measurable, achievable. So in other words, don't make it too big, hairy, and audacious.
Right.
Relevant, and time sensitive or time bound.
Yeah.
So it's the way to chunk down your big thing that's causing you stress into smaller things and taking them very strategically.
Yeah. And try to set goals that you can accomplish in a couple weeks time, right? Especially when you're trying to work on your positive mindset and your win number, right? Because what you want to do is you want to be able to have a lot of celebrations along the way. Because when you hit that big, hairy, audacious goal, we're all going to be cheering you on. We're all going to be doing high kicks. Might hurt a little bit. We're all going to be just high-fiving and just being so excited and yelling and screaming for you because you've accomplished that huge goal. But what's important is that if you don't have these milestones along the way that you take the time to celebrate, most of the time people quit on their way to that big goal. They don't go. It doesn't do it because it's no fun. It gets stressful. It gets overwhelming. It's bringing too much, negativity in their life because they keep thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't do it. I haven't done it yet. When am I going to do this? What's going to happen? All the negativity creeps in. But if you focus on those the small goals,
SMART goals,
and celebrate every single time that you accomplish it. I mean, even if it's as simple as high-fiving yourself and just going, yes, that's a celebration. Or if you have somebody else with you, you can high five and go, yeah, right? But just celebrating, because what that does is that brings emotion into the situation.
It changes your posture.
Completely changes how you're showing up.
Your brain chemistry.
How you're feeling. And what it does is it helps to really cement in these actions that you're taking. Because along the way, you are also getting all of these doses of those happy hormones that we did 3 or 4 episodes on, guys. And happy hormones is definitely a solution to a lot of mental struggle along our path to mental health. Right? So is there anything else you want to add in for this episode? Because I think we've gone pretty in detail into this.
We are going to be taking some of these components and making full episodes about them because they're that important to go into the details. Take this one as kind of a superficial look into it. Look through the questions, identify, go back, replay this, take notes, and figure out where you can, in your own defense, identify where you are on a positive, negative scale. Whether you're a problem focused person or whether you're a solution focused person. And maybe sometimes it's like, whatever is weighing you down, think about, are you thinking about what's weighing you down, or what is occupying more of your bandwidth of your brain? Are you spending more time thinking about what's weighing you down? Or are you spending more time thinking about how to get out of what's weighing you down? Sometimes you don't know the answer to the question because you just never asked yourself the question. But start asking yourself, am I a solution-based person or am I a problem-based person? Am I thinking positively? Am I thinking negatively? What is occupying my thoughts most of the time, positive things or negative things? And these are just really easy things to start to get your own pulse in your own mental health and start making small changes, the SMART goals, small things to change your everyday habits. And literally within a couple weeks to a month, you're going to notice a very big difference if you put direct effort into this and make yourself a priority because you need to. You're important. You matter. We love you. You should love yourself. And that's the thing.
because you are
matter.
worthy. You are amazing. You are sons and daughters of the Most High King. He
Amen.
loves you. He created you to be happy and healthy and wise, guys. We truly believe that, and we truly want it for every single one of you. And that's why we are here for you on episode number 13 on
Yes.
wellness foreplay.
Lucky number 13.
Yes, where we focused on mental health. Okay,
Yes.
mental health. And we've got another great topic coming for you. On Friday, we're going to be also continuing this proactive wellness episodes when we're going to be talking about your proactive immunity, because so many people are really fighting hard to stay well right now. And we're going to give you some great tips and some ideas of some, great things that you can
ways to save money
do.
too.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. But right now, we'd really love to ask for your help.
Yes,
Will
please.
you guys help us, please? We want to get this message out to as many people as we possibly can. So whether it's sharing it on Facebook or right now, we'd actually really love to ask.
Yeah,
please
we're going for
go.
a benchmark.
Yeah. Please go to Dondi and Marcy Nettles on YouTube, the Dondi and Marcy Nettles channel, and subscribe. And then share it.
For 1,000.
Yeah, we're almost there.
We're that close. Yeah. We want to get our first benchmark, 1,000 followers. Please help us get there.
Oh my gosh, we would just absolutely love it if it was you that helped take us over that 1,000 mark and beyond in sharing this information. Wellness foreplay. It's where Dondi and I come together to do the investigations to come up with the wellness that we know is the knowledge that we know is the foreplay to your wellness. Yes. So thanks for joining us today, guys. We appreciate you and your time, because we know it's valuable. Thank you.
See you next episode. We love you guys. God bless. See you soon.